Quick update on the stock market here and a bit of warning or even alert. Things might have changed abruptly here. I'm Rich Pass for Critical Point, and it is 1:13 p.m. Eastern Time, July 12th. The market acts like it wants to finish the day to the upside. We have the Dow Jones up 370 points. We have the S&P 500 up 54 points. And there may be it may be done for the day, how much they want to buy, how hard to push it. And they may even back it off a little bit in the day, but it feels as though it's late enough now, they're going to say, leave it there, okay? And maybe even take it higher still. That they're just not that interested in selling ahead of the weekend. I think they sold what they needed to sell yesterday. Now, why the abrupt turnaround? It was really the realization today that just how much money poured out of those magnificent 7 stocks and went into the 493 stocks, other stocks, for the S&P 500. And that's just an example of all the other major indexes in the overall stock market of what occurred. So this has got people excited that, hey, after a very long time, people are shopping for some of these beaten up, forgotten stocks. And this can be constructive on a very long-term basis. They're waking up that the bond market, even though interest rates went down and the stock market went down, they're waking up today that, hey, people are buying stocks anyways, and interest rates are actually kind of stable. So it's making them feel a little more comfortable to follow through. In addition, the PPI inflation report, at first, some of my people that I was watching and listening to thought it wasn't as low as they would like. But then they said, really, it fits in fine. Don't worry about it. It fits in with the lower CPI inflation report that we got yesterday. This is also causing them to think the PCE inflation report at the end of the month for June is far more well watched by the Federal Reserve, is probably going to fall in line as well. And so they're refocused, they're flipping back and forth on us by the minute here, but in general, it looks like they're focusing on the idea that, hey, the Fed will probably lower interest rates in September, all right? And they're willing to take a gamble on that and buy stocks until we get to September, and then they'll worry about the Federal Reserve. So here's my thoughts. I think did a fine job of calling a level 3 top yesterday, but to see this abruptly turn back and give back almost all of that drop, I'm a little concerned. It really wants to go higher and higher and higher, okay? And it's just a matter of how hard do they sell some of those high flyer stocks that can bring down the index. How fast do they quickly move that? How quickly do they move that money over into the other stocks that can keep the overall index from really dropping that much? How aggressive are they for buying? If they take a break and want to buy a dip, market's probably coming down. If they don't care about that, it's probably going to be held up quite well, even though they continue to sell those high-priced stocks. Today, it feels like to me some people are going back to actually buying some of those high-priced stocks, but I'm not that pleased with NVIDIA, and I'm not that pleased with that Magnificent 7 ETF fund of how it's performing, okay? But at the same time, I have to respect the equal-weighted index is up again today and just looking very, very good, okay? And some of these other indexes and indicators looking at looks really good. So we'll see what we get next week, but I'm just warning you. I said the level 3 ought to work, even if the more important sell signals I gave yesterday wouldn't work. Now I'm wondering what will happen next week. I won't be surprised to see early next week the market up, okay, to a record high, and then it dips maybe for a day or two, puts in the level 3 bottom, and then just higher still. And so it just really didn't work that well for that monthly kind of sell signal. And over the past 5 years, we've seen a tendency, almost every other one of these level 3s doesn't work as well to the downside as usual, and this could very well be one of those by the looks of it. So now questioning how well this works looking into next week. Now, I already warned you that if it takes out the current record high for NASDAQ and the S&P 500, if it does that in the next few days, it does show us we got a problem with the level 3. But I said I'll probably want to do a sell signal at the end of the month anyways. Now thinking I might back off of that, I'm kind of reverting back to what I said over the past couple of weeks, that I think there's a chance this market might actually go higher into late August. So I'll stick with that idea that if it's higher in early August, like in the first few days, I think we should probably assume it'll be higher in late August, and then we get a sell-off. But I also think we have to then give it a chance that it can be higher still by November, so we can get sell-offs and just see it recover again. All right. Again, if we're higher in the next few days, doesn't necessarily mean we're totally wrong on the level 3. They can pull it down. But it just makes me suspicious that it might be higher in early August, and early August would be something more important to make me feel we got to continue to be bulled up. So I think this is one of these situations you feel like, gee, I don't know what to do now. I'd rather err on the side of staying bullish. I backed off some. I took a quick little day trade, made a few bucks here on the upside. But I guess I'll wait till next week to see if I got to put that money back to work. I'm just telling myself I'm probably going to pay higher than what I sold out at, and it's probably not going to work that well. That's okay. That's the only small amount that I was working with. I assumed if we got a bigger down move into September, I got some time to sell even more and build into that rather than just dive in and then have to backpedal, okay? So at any rate, this is kind of impressive recovery today. And it looks like they are back in line with the idea these companies are making money. The banks come out today. They did pretty good on earnings. JP Morgan made headline news, 25% more profit or something like that. Investment banking was one of the better ones. Wells Fargo had some issues and problems, but I think its investment banking also countered that, so it did okay. So I think there are people just saying, there's issues here, and there's reasons to go down, but it's just not enough. And I think they're in the attitude that, hey, if this inflation's coming down like this, it seems like we've got to finally be close enough that the Federal Reserve's going to lower interest rates, and then that'll help provide a little safety net that this slowing down of the economy doesn't get away from us. And meanwhile, we're going to see the stocks go up anyways because the economy is still growing. And that's some of the attitude here today. So I think people were shocked how abruptly yesterday people not only sold the Magnificent Seven, but immediately put that money to work in all these other stocks. I don't think they were expecting that. I think they were a little surprised to see the selling at first and then said, hey, it's just profit taking, don't worry about it. Then pretty soon they said, yeah, but you know what? They're taking that money and putting it in other stocks. Not only that, and that made them a little braver, saying it's even less to worry about. In fact, maybe this is another little buy the dip kind of thing in a bull market. So if you need to backpedal here for the weekend, I can fully see why you don't want to bet on the downside quite yet here. And if you did, maybe you want to backpedal, start over next week and give it a chance. Because for the moment, this market's looking pretty strong. Maybe it's just a Friday blip up, but I told you, it really ought to bottom today for level 4 if it didn't bottom yesterday, and it really ought to be higher on Monday. And it's looking like this was a nice move up today, even if they want to sell it by the close, as long as they don't beat it up. My guess is it's going to be higher on Monday. All right, and we're not far wherein it could just make a new record high next week. That's soon. And if it happens, then I got to be, my sell signals here, those bigger sell signals are incorrect, okay? And I think we just have to backpedal as quickly as possible. And I'm giving you this update just in case you think, nah, this thing is bottom, this is going higher, higher, higher. Hopefully you can then pick off a little better price instead of waiting for it to go to a record high and then say, all right, Rich said it was going to go higher after that, so we better get going. At any rate, I will talk to you on Monday. Fascinating times here, and a little bit discouraged to have to backpedal so quickly here to try to keep up with the heartbeat of the U.S. stock market, but that's the way it is right now. Have a great weekend. Thank you.